So hello everyone, welcome to this another video of Scale Up India. I'm Abhishek Verma and you are watching part 2 of our Maven series. Now today's video is going to be a bit long because here we will be discussing what is Maven and parallelly we will be creating a Maven project with a real world scenario of Pakistan. So let's get started. So first of all, let's try to understand what is Maven. So here comes the definition. And it says that Maven is an open source project management tool. So what it means, and basically, as you know, I'm not going to read the statement word by word because here that is not the goal. So our goal is to make it simpler for you. So here when we say it is an open source, so this means that we don't need any kind of license, whether you are a college student or whether you are an owner of a startup or whether you are working in any other organization. You can make usage of Maven easily. So hence that is the meaning of open source. Now comes project management tool. So which means that this is going to manage whole your project. So not only a single Java project which we are going to make, but multiple projects also can be managed very easily with the help of Maven. And this was released in 2004. So it's almost around 19 to 20 years ago by Apache Software Foundation. And that's the reason that most of the times we also call it by the name of Apache Maven instead of just Maven. Now this is a very helpful tool for a particular developer who is working on a Java project because it helps the developer to create the project and to manage the project as well as to build the project. Now what do we mean by create, managing and building here? You will come to know very soon about all these terms in detail. But before that, let me tell you what we are going to cover in this Maven part here. So in order to explain you Maven, first of all, I will be explaining something about archetype. Don't call it as archetype, it should be archetype. Then we will be covering about the POM, that is project object model. Then we will be covering about the repository. And finally, we will be covering about the life cycles. Now, as you know the rules of our channel, we are not going to cover all these topics theoretically, but parallelly, we will be also creating a Maven project and see why and where each and everything fits in a Maven project. So let's move ahead with the archetype part. So here, first of all, the question is, what is this archetype? So you can assume that, let's say that whenever you are creating any kind of presentation, so whenever you open a particular presentation, there are different options available. Whether you want to start with a blank presentation or you want to go with a particular template. And if you are working in a particular company, there must be a template also of your organization. They must be having some kind of particular header, some kind of particular footer containing the company logo also. So similarly here, this archetype is a particular kind of a toolkit which is going to provide you the templates for your projects. So you can consider it to be a template, you can consider it to be a blueprint. Now you will see then what is the benefit of this template. So the benefit is going to be very simple. If you have watched our previous video where I was discussing about why do we need Maven, so there I shown you a particular slide where I was saying you that if the same web app project you will be creating in Eclipse, NetBeans and IntelliJ, it is going to have a different type of a structure for your web.xml. So whenever the multiple developers are going to collaborate who are working on different kinds of IDEs, they are going to find it difficult. So the moment you start using Archetype, the number one thing which it provides you is the consistency. So irrespective whatever the IDE you are using, if you are using a particular archetype, your project structure is going to look similar. So that is the very plus point which we are getting here. And hence we were using the term that Maven helps you to create the project. So it is coming from the very starting point itself. Then the second point is that if you are working in a particular organization or for a particular client, then they want to implement some particular kind of best practices. They may say that all the resources should be in this particular folder, all the test related classes should be in this particular package. So all of them can be implemented very easily with the help of Archetype. And the third and the most important thing is it is going to save your time. I mean, as a developer, you don't need to worry that what kind of structure should I go for. If you are working in an organization and they are providing you a particular kind of template, then you can start with that, or you can just start with one of the basic templates available in the Maven. And also you can even create your own archetype, publish it for the global world so that everyone can make usage of it. But that is not going to be the task of this video as of now, and we will be just using one of the default archetypes. Now on coming towards the archetype part here, so I hope that you must have understood it is going to provide you the template. Now here there are multiple archetypes available whenever we will go for the Maven. Some of them are provided by the Maven itself, some of them are provided by the various other companies, and some of them are also provided by developers like us. The developer is just creating a particular archetype and then they are pushing it somewhere so that we can make usage of it. But instead of using any other template, we will be using one of the basic templates which is going to be available for us, and that is Maven Archetype Quickstart. So this is going to be the structure, and very soon we are going to see this in our Eclipse also. So here you can see, first of all, we will be having a project home, which you can consider to be the name of your project. So let's call it as demo1. Then it will contain an src folder. Within that there will be a Maven folder by default, Java folder, test Java folder. There will be some target folder, and the heart of the Maven application, that is pom.xml file, is going to be there. So this is one of the most common archetype which every developer will be using in order to make a simple Maven project. But in case if you are interested in making a web application, then in those scenarios we will be taking help of Maven Archetype Web App. So that's a different kind of template we will be using, because it is going to provide you web.xml, index.jsp and all other folders where you can keep your JSP and HTML files. Now in this video, we will be only talking about the Maven Archetype Quickstart and not the Maven Archetype Web App. That is going to come in the next video. But most of the things, whatever we are going to cover about Maven, they are going to remain same for both of them. And in order to understand the web app, it is important to understand the Quickstart also. So now, without wasting any further time, let's directly move to our Eclipse IDE. Now here we are in our Eclipse IDE, but before starting the project, let me just take you here and to the command prompt, and I want to show you which Java version and which Maven version I'm using. So let me just say here Java --hyphen version. So as you can see, I'm making usage of JDK 17 here. So that's good. And let me take you to Maven version also. So here it comes and it says Maven is not recognized. So that means currently my system is not having Maven. And that is the goal of this video. So in order to create a Maven project, you don't need to install any extra thing or any extra software, not even the Maven itself. What you just need is the Eclipse IDE. And since our demo is going to be related with the database, so hence we need a MySQL server also. In case if you are not working with any kind of database, then you don't need MySQL. If it is just something like a hello world, and only an Eclipse IDE can do your job. Now why so? Because every Eclipse IDE, not only Eclipse, but whether you go for IntelliJ, whether you go for NetBeans or any other IDE, whichever is popular, so they are going to have the Maven plugin by default because it's a very popular tool and hence it comes built in. So you can make directly use of it without even installing Maven. And if you want to know how to install Maven, how to use it without Eclipse IDE, then it is going to come in the fourth video of this particular series. So that means you need to subscribe the channel and keep on watching our videos. So now let's get started and move towards the file. Now here we'll go to new, and here you can see we are having the Maven project option. But let's assume that since I'm working with the Maven again, so it is coming for me. You're working for the first time and it's not coming for you. So what you will do is you'll go to other, and here you will just type out as Maven. So you will see there will be some particular folder like Maven with 3 options, and we will be just selecting the option of Maven project here. Then let's go to next. So it is taking some time, and here it is saying that it is going to provide a new Maven project. And do you want to skip the archetype selection? Because this also knows that maybe you just want to create a simple project. So if you select this option, then it won't ask you to select the archetype and provide you the very basic one, which is again Quickstart. But instead of it, let's try to see how we can select on our own. So I'm not selecting this option. You also please take care of this. And here also in the advanced section, you don't need to provide any values here. So let's directly move to next. And here you can see we are getting something like this. And on this particular part, so you see it was trying to download something. So for me, it was able to download all these archetype quickly. If you are using it for the first time, it may take some time, but don't lose the hope. So everything will be available here. And the name is Maven hyphen archetype. So it is archetype. I want to call it as Archetype again and again, but I'm not calling it. So it is Maven Archetype Quickstart. So it is something like this. So here, even when I say Maven Archetype Quickstart, so it has filtered 3 results for me. And all these names are Maven Archetype Quickstart only. But which one shall I go for? So then comes the group ID. So group ID you can assume as the company name or the organization which is providing that particular artifact. Artifact is what? Again, you can consider that this artifact was created by that company as a project. Hence, they have provided you and we want to make usage of it. So which one shall we go for? This is something from github.com. So maybe some developer has created it with some particular add-ons. This is from some hexer.com and this is something from apache.org. So let's try to go for this. And for me, the version is 1.4. Depending whenever you are running this particular demo, you are watching the video, at that time it can be some more better version also, but things are going to remain same. So let's click on this and no other option needs to be selected and directly move to say next. Now it shows me another screen and it is asking me to create a group ID. So as I just now told you, for that particular archetype, group ID meant which organization created it. So here also, this is the group ID for our project. So the project will be created by ScaleUp India. So let's give the group ID of ScaleUp India. And generally, the rules are that you should provide the reverse URL of your company so that it mentions in this archetype itself or in this project itself that it was created by scaleupindia.com. So let's try to call it as com dot and something like scaleup India. So here we go. So we are saying com.scaleupindia. And then comes the artifact ID. So this time the artifact ID means the name of your project. So we are already having demo 0 with us, although it's a simple Java project. But now let's start calling it as demo 1. You can give it a better name also. Then it says which version you want to go for. And by default it is showing you snapshot also. Snapshot is generally used when it is not ready for the deployment. Once you have tested it completely, it is ready for the development, then we provided some different kind of version, let's say 1.2 point something or simply as 1, 2 or 3 or something. As of now, let's go for the default one only. Then it says that it will be creating packages by this particular name, com.scaleupindia.demo1. But I don't want demo1 in my package name. So let me remove it from here. And if you wish, you can even change this also, but then it's not a good practice. So generally your group ID and packages should be same. Then it says, do you want to run it interactively? So as of now, since this is our first one, so let's choose this option. When we will go for the next time, that is in the web app in next video, we won't choose this option and then we will see the difference. Yeah. And let's create finish. Now here you see it is saying 33% and something. And if I scroll this up, it has started downloading everything for me, which is required in order to create this particular project. So even this archetype, even this template was not available with me. It is downloading the template from somewhere. So here you can see that it has downloaded all this template from somewhere, and I'll show you what do I mean by that somewhere very soon. But since we have chosen interactively, so it is saying that you are going to create with a group ID this, artifact ID this, version, package, and you want to proceed. So I'll just say Y to proceed. If you won't choose that option, it will directly provide you the thing. And then it says build success. So whenever you are working with the Maven project, this particular green font of build success is very important thing, and that is something which every Java developer wants while working with the Maven. A green color build success. Otherwise it is not going to work for you. So that is done, and here as you can see we are having this demo one. Now I'm not sure whether you can see this or not, but here there is a symbol of capital M also. So on the simple Java project, we just see a capital symbol of J, and here we see two symbols of M as well as J, which denotes it's a Java project and it's a Maven project. So let's click on this icon, and here we can see a particular structure is available to us. src main Java, and within that we have a particular package also with the same name which we gave in the group ID and the package, and then it is providing a class also for us, and this class, let's see what do we have there. So it says it's hello world, so that means it is providing you all these things ready made. Yeah, and then it says there is something src test Java also, and this is test class is also provided with a dummy test method. So this is also provided. Now why does it provides you the test? Because it feels that you are creating a project in an organization, and whenever you are creating a project in an organization, they say that you should test your project with the help of JUnit before deploying your code, and hence it provides you this particular test thing also by default. Now we are not going to use this, so I will be deleting them later on, but as of now let's see what do we else here. So here you can see that by default it is using Java 1.7, which is Java 7 only. Here we see there is another folder of Maven dependencies, and there also we have some jar files. I'm not sure why this JUnit automatically came here, and there we have this particular target folder which is empty as of now. This is just an src folder. Now one of the practice which I see when people are coding is that they keep on opening these folders, but that's not a good practice. Don't open this folder. This is same what you can see here, src main Java, so it is just going to open the same thing only. So never open this because it doesn't suits good. Instead you can directly open the things here. I mean, that is too easy. And this is the hurt of the Maven project, as I said, pom.xml. So before I open this pom.xml, let's try to read about what is this pom.xml, and then we are going to come back to this particular Eclipse. So here comes a project object model, or you can say pom. So pom, I will say, is going to be the heart and the brain of your Maven project. Without this pom, your project is not even going to work. And even if there is a particular error in your pom, then also it is not going to work. Even rest of your business logic is correct, your pom is wrong, it will never work. So that means this is something which you need to take care. Then the question comes is why the pom is so important. So we will say that pom is, first of all, pom is just a particular XML kind of file. Yeah, so that means you just need to have a little bit idea of XML configuration so that you don't mess up all the things. Yeah, and beside this, why it is important? Because it takes care about all the information of your project, like what was the group ID, what was the artifact ID, what is the version number, whether you are going to create a jar file or a war file. It will take care of all your dependencies which you are going to use in your project. All the dependencies, all the plugins, all the necessary configurations, which Java version you want to use, everything will be written in your pom.xml. And hence we say this is the heart as well as brain of your Java project or the Maven Java project. So let's go back to our Eclipse and see how this pom.xml looks like. So we are back to Eclipse, and here comes my pom.xml, and this is how it looks like. So you don't need to take care of all these things. It will be there. You don't even need to touch, leave it as it is. Then comes the group ID, artifact ID and versions. And as you can see, these are all the same values which you provided. And also just take care that you should not provide a space in this particular artifact ID. It's not considered as a good practice. Otherwise it will start giving you the errors. So your artifact ID should not have any kind of spaces. If you wish, you can have something like this hyphens or underscore, that will be fine, but don't give spaces here. Yeah. Then comes the name. So this name is generally same as your artifact ID, and if you wish here you can give some better name also. It's a kind of a description you can say, so that is fine. As of now we will keep it as same. Now if you also wish you can keep some particular URLs also of your particular website. As of now we don't need this, so we'll just remove this particular part. It's not required for a basic project. Then comes the properties tag. So all these are tags, you can simply close them or open them like this. So this is the properties tag. So this says that it will be a UTF-8 encoding. So generally this UTF-8 is used for creating all your jars for the security purpose and everything. This UTF-8 will be used. So again we are not going to touch this. Then it says which Java version you are going to use, the compiler source and the compiler target version. So by default it is providing us 1.7, but we want to go for 17 version. So what I'll do is I'll remove this dot and make it as 17 for both of them. So currently you see it as 1.7. I have changed it and now I'm going to just save this particular file. So again it is doing something, but still the version is 1.7. So what I'll do is I'll just click here. It will happen many times with you that by default it is not updating the things. So I'll just click and there I'll go to Maven and then I'll say update project. Now in update project currently I'm having only one Maven project, so it is showing me one. Otherwise it can show you multiple also. Just select your Maven project and say force update. Now you need our internet in order to work with the Maven project. So if you are doing any kinds of updates with the dependencies or with these versions, so you need a running internet so that it can work the things. So you see now the version is Java 17 with us and everything got updated. Same way if you want to go for 11 or any other version, it's fine. But as of now the latest versions are Java 8, the 11, 17 and 21 will be coming soon. Then comes the dependencies. So as I told you that last time also our project which was demo 0, so it was trying to make usage of JUnit as well as the MySQL dependency. So we need those jar files. So here also our project will need some particular kind of jar files. Then only it can run the test class also. Yeah, without this it can't. So what it does is by default it provides to you the JUnit dependency. So this is the name of that dependency JUnit. This is the organization providing. This is the version. And it's in the scope it says when it will be used. So it will be just used for the testing purpose. Otherwise JUnit is not needed. Now in case if your project is not having any kind of test cases, then you can simply choose to remove this also. So you can just remove it like this and that is fine. So this one also works. So currently it is not having any dependency, but here you see it has started showing you the errors. So we'll go there and we will simply remove this particular file also because we don't need it. If you wish you can remove the package also, but I'll say not to remove this folder of src test java. Let it be there, maybe because in future you want to create again the test cases, so why to recreate the folder? Otherwise if you wish you can recreate the folder also, that's fine. Yeah, so as of now we don't need, so we have removed it. Then we will be adding the dependencies very soon after this. Then comes the build tag here, and within the build we have different kinds of plugins. So these plugins you can again say that like the same way, maybe in your mobile you are adding some different kinds of applications and some plugins within the Chrome browser. We keep on adding different plugins for different things. We may be adding some kind of ad blocker plugin or any other thing. So same way Maven also works with the help of these plugins only. So here all the plugins are available. I won't go in deep of them, but later on while explaining the life cycles, at that time I'll again show. But this is how it is going to look like, the build tag. Sometimes it may happen if you are using some different version of POM or different version of Maven, you are not having this build visible here. So in that case also no need to worry because it is still there. So what happens is this is the POM of your project which we are creating. But there is something like a parent POM also or super POM also, for which you can just click here on the effective pom tab. So this is the parent pom. So some of the things which are not visible in pom.xml, those details you can see here. That is from where it is going to get all these dependency. So from this particular website, which is our central repository. So it will get every dependency, every plugin from this thing only. Then it says that what are the different folders we can create here. So here you see all the directories and everything has been mentioned. Because you may wonder that how it will come to know that all the Java classes should be in this folder only. Because it's mentioned here that they should be in src main Java. It also knows that all the test classes should be in src test Java. If you want to change the name here, you should change the name here also, which is not a good practice, because again, I mean, why we are using Maven? So that we can have a general structure. So we should go by the archetype. Then if you say I want some kind of resources, so you can create these folders also on your own, src main resources. So what we do is, because we know later on for our project we need some resources, because last time also when we were working with demo 0, we created something like this resources folder for keeping our .sql .properties and again this .sql file. So here also we need, so let me just create it on my own. So I'll just go here to this src, and then it says it should be in main. So main is also there, but in main I don't have any resources. So I'll just go there and I'll just say new, I'll say folder. Don't say package, say folder, and just go for the same spelling as resources, and then we'll say finish. So you can see this here. Then for test also, if you need any resources you can create. As of now we don't need, but let's create it for the sake of understanding. So within the test, let's create another folder by the name of resources, something like this. So this also we have created, and now it is looking like this. In case the things are not coming here, then just click here and again you can just say Maven and then this update project. So they will come up here. I mean, it happens sometimes that things don't appear and they start appearing here only within this. So in that case, if you will just say Maven update project, or even if you will just say refresh, so things will start appearing there. So that also we have seen. Same way here we can see that, okay, whenever this thing will be created, what is going to be the name of your jar file? So this is going to be the name of your jar file, and it will be available within your target folder. Currently my target folder is empty. How this name came? This is the name of my project and this is my version name. If you wish, you can just edit here, or better not to edit here, just edit your version number. Then here you can see all the plugins and their versions, so everything can be seen here. And if you wish, you can add more plugins also, which we will be doing by end of this video. So everything is available here. So that's the thing here, guys. Then next comes the dependency hierarchy. So here, since as of now I have removed all the dependencies, so you will see this empty, but I'll again show you after adding the dependencies. So this is the hierarchy. Here you can see all the dependencies which we are having without any kind of hierarchy, directly in the structure format. And here you can see the overview only, what all things we are having in this project. So this is the group ID. So this is something like viewing in the tabular format instead of this XML file. So if you don't like this, then you can just go here and you can see all the properties, UTF-8, 17, the parent modules, and everything will keep on appearing here. But if you're working with Maven, so you should start working with the XML a little bit. And as you can see, you don't need much details, only this much is sufficient. Now the question is how we will get these dependencies, from where we are going to get this. So I have already shown you that there is this particular thing which I'm saying is central repository. But what do we mean by repository? So let's study a bit about repository. So now let's talk about Maven repository here. So here we will say that repository is a particular kind of a place, or you can say it is a kind of a database which is going to store everything related to your Maven project. Now when I say everything related to my Maven project, then what do I mean? So I mean to say that it is going to have all the archetypes also. So you remember that initially when we started the Maven project, so many names were available, and then we got the Quickstart archetype. So from where did it came? It came from the repository. Then the next thing is the dependencies. So by default, it was having the JUnit dependency, which we just now deleted. So from where it came? From the Maven repository. Then I'll show you there were so many plugins also available, which were required in order to run the Maven project. So from where are they coming? From the repository. And then later on, when you will be creating your jar file or the war file, you want that everyone in this world can use that particular jar file or the war file. Let's assume that you want everyone to use. So where will you keep? Again, in the Maven repository. So you can also contribute to that Maven repository. So that is the Maven repository, and hence it will contain everything for us. Yeah. Now the question is, how does it looks like? So the thing is, this Maven repository is a particular kind of local repository also, and it is available in your particular laptop or desktop. So when I say local, that means it is within your machine only. Very soon I'll show you during this video itself that how this local repository looks like. So in this local repository, it is going to store all the archetypes, all the particular dependencies and everything. But the point is, how is it possible that my machine is having all the jar files which I need? I mean, I didn't even told, it is having. How is this even possible? So it is possible because there is something like central repository also, which we are going to say as Maven repository. So what happens whenever you are going to provide any dependency in the pom.xml? First of all, it will look in your local repository. If it is able to find there, it's well and good. Otherwise, it will go to the central repository. Then it will download the particular dependency, which is in the format of a jar file, and it will keep in your local repository. And from there, it is going to use it. Now you will say, why is this so? This is because you don't want that every time, let's say that you are making 100 projects. Every project you are using some MySQL particular repository or MySQL jar file you are using. Now, if you are using the same version, every time you don't want to go to the central repository. Yeah, you want maybe to use it directly available to you. It is again something like, let's say that at your home you want to make tea. So every time you won't go to the market in order to take some 50 grams or let's say 10 or 20 grams of sugar. You will just take something like 1 kg of 2 kg of sugar at your home, and then you will directly go to your kitchen only in order to create a tea. So it's the same way here. So for the first time it will go to central, then it will keep a copy in your local, which you can delete anytime, and it will keep on referring there. If it is able to find, it will use, otherwise it will go to the central repository here. Now you will say, okay, then that is also good. But Abhishek, what we understand is that you don't know anything about symmetry. I mean, you are just saying local and central, and then you have given so much space. So where is the symmetry? The point is, symmetry comes here. So there is still one more repository left to be explained. So let's assume that you are working in a particular organization, and let's say the name of organization is Scale Up India. Currently it is not, because we are having very less number of subscribers. It is only, I guess, 435 as of now while creating the video at this time, because maybe you who are watching the video, you haven't subscribed even after liking the video. So please subscribe the channel so that we can become an organization soon. So here we will say that let's assume there is a Scale Up India organization as of now in our dreams. So outside the organization, we have this central repository, and within the organization, we have this particular laptop, which is the part of organization as of now. And you know, generally in organization, the companies keep on using something like a firewall, because they don't want employees to be directly interact with the internet and download some different kinds of viruses or anything else. So in that particular case, there is something like a firewall. Now the point is, whenever your company is using anything like firewall, you can't interact with central repository. So how will you download a new jar which you need? Maybe I need a new version of MySQL, maybe I need a new version of JUnit. So how will I get that particular thing? So for this purpose, they keep something like a remote repository. So when we use the term remote here, which means it is outside your computer or outside your laptop. It may be available somewhere in the servers of your organization, maybe in the same city or maybe in some different city. In order to connect with that remote repository, you need some kind of VPN. So what you will do is, this time instead of directly interacting with the central repository, you will interact with your remote repository. Now how this is possible? How will you give the particular URL of that remote repository? So the admin team or the operations team of your organization will give you something like a settings.xml file, which is going to be separate from your pom.xml file. You will keep it in a different folder. I'll show you the folder where you can keep that settings.xml file, and then you can interact with the remote repository within your VPN. Now you may say, what if your remote repository is also not having that jar file? So then you can directly blame your operations team, because this is their responsibility to keep on having the latest version of all the jar files which are there in the central repository. I mean, they will do some kind of cleaning and filtering that all the particular and all the authenticate jar files are available from the Google, from the central repository for you. But if any particular jar is not available, then you can ask them instead of directly interacting with the central repository or downloading any kinds of viruses. Currently we are in the free network and we are not an organization, so we will be working only with the local and the central repository. Now let's go back and see how everything looks like in the reality. So now I have opened the C drive here, and here what I will do is I'll go to the users folder. Now you will say, why you have opened C drive now? We need to go to Eclipse, we need to go to Maven repository. Why this? Because I want to show you local repository first. Now here within the users folder, you will go to the folder with your name. It may be your name or whatever the name your computer or laptop is using, you'll go there. So I'll go to this not Abhishek whole. I mean, it didn't took the whole name. I don't know why. Then you will go to this .m2 folder here. So this is going to be the Maven folder. As of now, if you have not worked with the Maven, maybe you won't see this folder in your machine. But the moment you will create your very first Maven project in any kind of IDE or maybe from the command prompt, then this folder will be automatically created. So that's the magic. So this is .m2 folder where M maybe stands for the Maven. Now within the M2 folder, we have this repository. Now I told you that if you are working in an organization, you need a settings.xml file. So where to keep that settings.xml file? Here only, within the .m2 folder outside the repository folder. So here you can keep. As of now we are not working, so we don't care about it. Then we'll go to this particular repository here, and here you can see I'm having some particular folders with me. So JUnit and something, and as of now I don't need this. So what I can do is, let me just delete all of them. And it says it is not able to delete some of the folders, so that's fine. Let's skip them, whichever it is not able to delete, by just simply saying skip here. So these three folders it is not able to delete. The reason is that I have one more project opened with me, and that is also using Maven, and they may be using some of these jar files, so hence it is not deleting them. Otherwise initially it is going to be empty only. Yeah. And here what I'll do is I'll go to this org here, and within the org what we can do is, let's say if we have anything interesting as of now. So here we can see we have Apache. Now within the Apache here we have something like Maven, and here within the Maven we have something like this archetypes. So this is the archetype, and here this is something like the Quickstart. So this is today's date, that is 25th August 946, few minutes back, and this is the folder for the Quickstart. Version is 1.4, and here you can see the jar file. So whenever I created the Maven project for the first time with this particular archetype, it got downloaded. Next time when I need to create, it won't take that much time, because it don't need to go to the central repository and don't need to download from there. It will be available here. And since I have opened the folder, so hence I'm not able to delete the same. Same way other things are also available. So only one single place for all your repository. You don't need to worry. Now you may say that how did you came to know that it will be available in this repository in this location only? So for that, let's go to our Eclipse, and within the Eclipse let's go to this particular Windows here, if I'm not wrong. Then let's go to this perspective, or sorry, not perspective, let's go to this preferences. And let me just make it enlarge. And here in this, we will go to this Maven. Now within Maven, click on this, and here you go to this user settings. So here you will see the name. So this is the place which is going to be your repository by default. Now if you say I don't want to keep my repository in the C drive, then you can change the location here also, and you can keep in some other location also. But as of now, let's go by default only, and let's make usage of this C drive and this particular location only. Yeah. So I'm not going to touch this. Otherwise you can just change, and then that is going to become. But now the question is that, okay, we need some dependencies. And before dependencies, I mean, which all dependencies do we need? That depends on your project. But currently my project, I can see this is just empty. So I don't need this app.java here. Let me just delete this. And my resources is empty. My test is having an empty package, and test resources is also empty. So where is my project? So let me quickly copy all the folders from here and keep them here in different locations. So here, as you can see, I have copied everything, and by mistake I have also copied the test class also here. So I don't want this here. Let me just remove it from here by saying, let me just try like this. I'll say okay, and now this is available here, and now I don't need this empty package. So that also I have removed. Now I'm using this particular name because here also, if you see, I was having this name. If you wish further, you can create sub packages of this, and this is your test class. So all the imports are here, but still it is having some errors, and as we know, these are the compilation error. So guess the reason. What can be the particular reason for these compilation errors? And for that, just type in the comment section what are the reasons. I mean, that way only YouTube will come to know that, okay, people are interacting with this video also. Otherwise YouTube doesn't know, and that's the reason I'm asking you to type in the comment section. Otherwise you can just think of it on your own. Now we know that why we are getting these particular errors, because we don't have the JUnit dependency with us. We don't have the JUnit jar file with us. So what we will do is that currently it is empty. So we will go to the Maven repository. So let me just go there. Okay, and yeah, here we can see that now we are having 436 subscribers. So at the time of creating this video, we got one more subscriber, but at the time of watching, what will you get? Let's see. At the time of watching also, will you get 436 or will it increase? But you need to help me in order to increase this. Otherwise, what is the motivation factor? I'm not getting anything from this. So let's go here and let's go to Maven repository. In the last video, I mentioned you when we were discussing about why Maven, that why we should go for this only for all the authenticate jar files. It is having more than 35 millions. Yeah. And this is the only place. I mean, it's not any kind of advertisement, but this is the only place, guys. So let's learn about this JUnit here. So we'll search for this JUnit and we'll say this JUnit here. Now all these are available, and we'll go for this JUnit Jupyter because it's making usage of JUnit 5, and our test case is also with JUnit 5. So let's click on this, and here you can see this version is 5.10.0. So we'll go there, and last time, if you remember, we downloaded the jar file, but this time here you can see all the options. If you are using Maven, you can copy this. If you are using Gradle, you can copy this. Anything else you can copy. I'm using Maven, so I'll go here and I'll just click this, so it will get copied. I mean, they have made it so simple for you, not even Control C. So we'll go here, and what I'll do is I'll keep it here within my dependency stack. If it is not available, then you can just create a dependency stack. So we'll just paste it out here. And after this, we will just say Control Shift F so that it gets formatted in this particular way. Yeah. Now this is your wish if you want to keep this particular comment or not. I mean, if you wish so that next time you can remember from where you got this particular thing, so you can keep. Otherwise, you know, it is from Maven repository, so you can delete also in order to decrease your size. For me, it is just a demo, so I'll keep this comment so that whenever I will push it on GitHub and you will watch, so you will get an idea. So this is the one, but still compilation error exists. That means because I haven't saved this particular thing. So let me just save it. So Control S. And on saying Control S, it is trying to download the things. So I'm not sure whether you saw something or not, but it was there. And now all these errors are gone. And where are the jar files? So let's go here in this Maven dependencies. So here you can see we got all the jar files. And not only JUnit, I mean, I just said JUnit, but it also downloaded all the transitive dependencies also. For all these open test, JUnit, Platform Commons, API Guardian, all of them got downloaded here in one go. So that is another advantage of Maven. So till now only we got basically three advantages of Maven. First one, it provides you the template so that you can have a consistency. Second, it helps you with all your jar files. Now if you just need the latest version, so you can just change the version here. But you can't just simply change the version. It should be available somewhere here, otherwise not. And not only the direct dependencies, but it will give you the transitive dependencies also. And what is the place, I mean, where we can find all of them? So they will be available in C drive, users, my name, .m2 repository, and then that particular location. So you can simply watch out there. I have already shown you for the archetype, so I won't do that again and again, and will directly go for the next part. So now we don't have any compilation errors. So do you think it is going to work? Let's see. So how to run this? So you can run it very simply like you run any particular Java project. So this is my class with main method. I'll just click here and I'll run this. So on running, it says there is some issue, and the issue is it has failed to load this particular file. The reason is that last time we were having something like this kind of a structure. So it was available within the resources folder. Now your database.properties is available within src main resources. And since you are using this particular kind of location, so in your config file of properties config, you don't need to give the whole path. If you will just say database.properties, it will automatically identify that it needs to look in src main resources for these kinds of files. That is also an advantage. So again, let's try to run this. So now it says this driver, and since I have handled it in some different way, so it is showing you that only the name of the driver. So it says this driver is not there because as of now I haven't added anything like MySQL dependency. So let's add that also here quickly. So for which we will again go here on our Chrome and I'll just search for this MySQL. So here it comes, and let me just search. So this is MySQL connector J, and this time this is the latest one. Last time you remember I downloaded the jar file, I kept it somewhere, then I went to the build path, I added it to the build path. This time I'll just simply click, I'll go here and I'll just provide it here. It's your wish. Either you can provide below this or you can provide above this. There is nothing like any hierarchy here, and it can be in any particular order, but it should be within your dependency stack. That is most important. Now you see Control Shift F. So this is the way, and again, will it work? So let's see whether we got. So as of now we didn't got, so we'll just go here and we will say Maven update project. So whenever you see that jar files are not coming automatically, so this is the option. Select and say force update. And now if you will just refresh your project, so it should be visible here, but still it is not coming. So why so? Because I haven't saved it. That was silly. I just didn't save it. So this time it downloaded MySQL and one transitive also of protobuf. Maybe it needs for some particular purpose, but we don't need it. So let's have it there as of now. We don't have any issue, but this is the way. So after saving it, if it downloads automatically, it's well and good. If it doesn't, it happens sometimes with the Eclipse versions, with me also. So instead of thinking what is the solution, so simplest, go to Maven, just say update project, say this force and say okay for that particular one only. Don't start doing for all the projects. As of now we won't do, and just keep on refreshing your projects. Now the things exist with me, and do we have anything in the target folder? It is still empty. So now let's try to run this demo again and see whether it is going to work or not. So here we are, and as you can see, it is working. So it is showing you all the owners which are there in my database, and how I set up the database and everything. It is in my Why Maven video, so that you can watch, but it is working fine, and that's good. But we were running in this way earlier also. Then what is the advantage of Maven? I mean, can't it provide me some different way of running or some different features also of running the things? So that also we will see in the next section of life cycles. Now let's talk about the different life cycles of Maven. Now the question is, do we mean by these life cycles here? Okay, so in general, if I say what's a life cycle, life cycle means it must be a sequence of some particular thing. If we say for the human, it is not only the case that we just take a birth and directly we become old and then we die. There are different phases in the life cycle of a human. We take birth, then it is the childhood phase, then it is the youth phase, then it is the adulthood phase, then we become the old age phase, and then we die. So same way in your Maven project also, we are going to have different phases in different life cycles, and each phase is going to have a one particular goal. It can be a single goal, it can be multiple goal which needs to be done in that particular phase. Like when you were a child, at that time the goal was that you want to play, you want to go to school, and you want to score good marks. When you become youth, it was some different goal. You want to learn more things, you want to increase your network, you want to earn more money and something. Later on you may want to become may want to settle. So the goals keeps on changing. So here also each phase is going to have a different goal, and the question is how this phase comes up into the picture. So the realization of this phase is the plugin. So you remember in the starting I told you pom.xml contains some plugins also. So those plugins are nothing but these phases. So those plugins are the way which we are going to code all these phases. That this is a particular phase, it needs to create a jar file. This is a phase, it needs to create this particular file. This is a phase where it needs to do the testing. In this phase, it is needs to clean all these particular folders. So different phases are there. And before directly jumping towards the phases, let's try to understand about the life cycles. So here we say that by default Maven has three life cycles, which are the built-in ones. The first one is a clean life cycle, and its job is very simple. In the Maven project, we have something like a build directory. For us, it will be the target folder. So what happens is that whenever you build something, whenever you run the code, it creates the .class files, then it is going to create your jar and var file, and it will keep on keeping all the things in your target folder. So at the time will come when your target folder will become very big and you just want to clean. So you will say, I will go to the target folder, I will say Control A and delete all the inner folders. So that is one way. But with the help of Maven, if you want to automate this, so then there is a clean life cycle. And this is a very simple life cycle. It is just having three phases. So you can assume this is a life cycle of any particular insect. Only three different phases. We will talk about these phases more. But let's talk about another life cycle. So the next one is the default life cycle, or you can call it as build life cycle also. I mean, these are the names provided by Maven. And this is one of the important life cycle because here we are going to basically create or build the application. That is, we are going to build the jar or the var file of our application. And this is something like a human life cycle. It is having 21 phases. So minimum it is having 21 goals, because I said every phase can have one or more goals. So minimum 21 goals are there. And then there is something like a site life cycle, where we need to do some kind of documentation for creating the reports and everything. And that is further having 4 different phases. So these are the different life cycles, then these are the different phases. Now the question is, what are those phases? I mean, how they are important, and where we can see which all phases are there, how much we should remember, how much we should learn. So the point is, you just need to know what are these life cycles and just this much overview of the phases. You don't need to remember each and every phase by heart, name by name. that is not required. That's why I have not even added in my presentation directly, and instead I will try to show you the same thing with the help of a Google. After this I don't have any more slides, so either I will code something or I will take you to the Google. So let's go there. So here we are on our Google, and let's try to search about these Maven lifecycles. So here I will say Maven lifecycle. Now you can go for any kind of tutorial here. I mean, there are so many. That's the reason I, as of now, don't create any kinds of tutorial. I mean, another reason is you don't even subscribe. I mean, that's the reason. I mean, you need to give the motivation. So we will directly go to Apache Maven. Yeah, the parent whosoever created this, the Maven. So we'll go to Apache, and here we can learn everything about life cycles. I won't ask you to learn each and every line by line, but directly I'll just scroll down and I'll take you there. So here it says these are the plugins, because with the help of plugins only we will get all these life cycles. Yeah, and here we can see all the life cycles. So first of all, this is your clean life cycle, and as you can see, it is having only 3 phases. If you feel the font size is not good, let me just increase the font size a bit here. So this is your clean life cycle with 3 phases, and it is mentioned what it will be doing in each and every phase. This is your default life cycle or the build life cycle with 21 phases. Everything has been mentioned here. And this is your site life cycle with 4 different phases. And these are important. Okay. So in order to run your Maven project, we can take help of these phases only. Let's see how we will be taking help of them. So let's say there in the clean lifecycle, there is a phase of clean. Now clean says it is used to remove all the files generated by the previous build. So previous build, as I mentioned you, something came to the target folder. Now you want to, empty your target folder. So what you will do, you can make usage of clean lifecycle. But clean lifecycle says, in reality, what happens? Is it possible? Can you directly go to the college without going to school? Not possible. Can you directly become old without your youth and the childhood? Not possible again. So here also, you can't go for the clean life cycle before the pre-clean life cycle. So first of all, this pre-clean phase needs to be done, and then only we can go for the clean phase. So that is the sequence. So let's see how we can run them. So we'll go here, and what I'll do is I'll just click here, and then I will just say here run as, and then I'll go to this Maven build with 3 dots. So clean is so common that they have directly created something like this. So if you will click on this, it will directly run your clean phase. But instead of directly, that's simple. So I'll show you how to do it manually. So we'll click on this, and here I will just say pre-clean first. So I'll just say here pre-clean like this. So I'm saying run here, and when I say run, so it will just execute something like this, because pre-clean has nothing much to do. Yeah, so it is simple, and it says build success. And now let's go back here. So execute processes needs prior cleaning the project. So it was simple. Now let's go to the cleaning. So we'll go here, and again what I'll do, I'll go there and I'll say here clean. So this time I'll say clean here, and I'll say run. And this time when I'll say run, so it needs maybe again to download some particular plugins which it has again downloaded, and it says build success. So that is also done. And what it did basically in the clean lifecycle, in the clean goal, so it deleted the targets of this folder. So if you will just refresh something here, so this the refresh, so you see this target is empty now. So it is deleting the contents of that particular target folder. So this is how. And then it is something post clean, so that also you can run. Same way this default lifecycle also. So now it is empty. So now we want to compile, and but before compiling we need to do all these things. And before creating the jar file, because where the jar will be created, it is here in the package. So package means take the compiled code and package it in a jar file. So that means you need to do all these things. So that means almost you need to execute more than 20, 10 or 15 particular phases. So won't it be difficult? Then you will say that why Maven is doing something with this. So the point is Maven is intelligent. Maven also knows that you need to do this. Maven also knows that this phase needs all these phases to be executed before this. So what it does is that even if you will say package, it will execute all these phases line by line in that particular order. So let's see how this can happen. So we'll go here, we'll again click, we will say run as Maven build. So that's the reason I'm saying you don't need to remember the names of all the phases. You just need to remember the name of few phases only. Like one of the important one is clean, so that you can keep on cleaning the things. Other one is package. I mean, why will you just compile? There is no reason of just compiling. You want to create a package. You want to create a jar file. So we will just say package here. So we'll just say run. And now let's see the magic. So I'm doing it for the first time. It may download something for me, some required plugins it is downloading. So now let's see what it has done here. So here you can see it executed something like a resources also. Then it executed compile also. Then test resources also. And what is basically doing? So when it executed resources, from there it copied 3 resources. These 3 resources were there. .sql files and .properties. Then it ran the compile phase. And in compile it found that there are 12 files which needs to be compiled. Then in the test resources, you see it was empty, so nothing got copied. Then in the test compile, there was only one particular class which it compiled. Then what it did is it said that why do you want a jar file? I mean, if there is a particular test case, maybe first you want to execute your test cases and then only you want to run your jars or you want to create your jar. So first it downloaded some required things for testing and then it executed the test cases also. Then it says that it executed the test case. Only one thing was found, because if I open this and I show you, so I'm currently having only one test method. So since there is only one test method, so it executed that particular one. Now since it worked fine, it is showing you the next part of jar. So it created the jar file for us. And where it kept the jar file? Within the target folder. But you will say target folder is empty. So this is something you need to do. You need to click here and you just need to say refresh in order to see that. Now if you will go to your target folder, it is having so many things: generated resources, test resources, some status, some Shopify reports, some jar file. These resources are just your compiled files, .class files. Surefire reports are nothing but regarding the results of your test cases. So here, if I double click, so the same thing you can see here. Maybe you want to share it with someone, and if you want to see that green bar and something, so you can just say this, and here you can say open with JUnit view. So here you can see that green bar for your test cases and everything. If you are not having test cases, then it will just ignore this part because there is no test file, there is no test dependency. Then it has created this particular jar file also, and the name is demo1 because that is the name of your project, and this is the version. So that way it is keeps on doing. If you want to go for different version, then you will just go to your this particular pom.xml, and here you can change the things whatever the version you want. So that can be done here easily. And then it is saying build success. In case if any of the particular phase is not running correctly, yeah, so let's say that you were not able to pass your 9th class. How can you go to your 10th class? You will just stuck there only. Same way it will happen with this also. If any of the things is not working fine, it will never move to the next. Sometimes it may happen that you don't want to run the tests. I mean, you have the test class, but every time you don't want to run the test. So then what can be done? You will again click here, say run as Maven build, and here you can still say here package, but there is an option to skip test. So if you will say skip test, it won't do that. Yeah. So let's say run. And now this time when I say run, this again started from the resources, the very first one. So here this validate, initialize, all these are not needed. So it is directly going to this particular resources only, which is your generate resources. So there it is going resources, it is again copying, then it went to compile. So this time you see I didn't made any change in the Java files. So there was nothing new to compile. So it says everything is already there. Whatever I compiled last time, things are there, everything is up to date, nothing to compile. So that is again the benefit. Then not copying the test resources because you are skipping them, not compiling test resources, you are skipping it, tests are skipped, and directly it created the jar file. But your target folder is still having the test resources and everything from your previous time. So that is the thing that you want to clean. So what you want is that before the next build, you want to clean it. So now will you clean it manually? Obviously no. You will go here. First you will say clean, then you will say package, but then you will say then I need to execute 2 times. So solution is you just say clean and then you say package. So they are the part of different life cycles. Hence clean is not executing every time because clean is a different life cycle. Package is a part of build life cycle. So you need to give it manually like this with some space. So now what it will do is first when you say clean, so it will execute the clean lifecycle till clean. Then it will execute the build lifecycle till package. And this time when I run, so we will see something interesting that in the starting, it is starting with this clean part. First it is going to clean and then it is going to do. Since it cleaned, so there was nothing compiled, so it is compiling again. And then it is doing all other things. Since file is there, it is compiling that particular test class also, but it is not running. Okay, I guess I missed the things. I missed to skip the test, so it did. But this way you can do. So you can just say clean and package. And this is the most common command which you just need to remember with the Maven. You don't need to worry about any other ways. So these are the important things. Another part. Now whenever you will say package, it will always keep the jar file here. But let's say that this jar file needs to be used in another Maven project which you have created and only you need it, no one else. Then what will you do? You will say that okay, this jar file is available here. In the D drive, I'm having, let's assume, some other folder of Spring Boot. Within Spring Boot, I'm having some project and within that I need this jar file. Then how we will refer? We can't get it from the central repository. So what is the solution? Solution is somehow we need to refer the jar file. But it is not good to refer a jar file which is available in some different project. What if somebody cleaned it? Then it is gone and that project also will be start giving you the errors. So the solution is to keep this jar file in your C drive repository, because I mentioned you in repository you can keep your generated artifacts also. So let's see how to do that. For this we'll just go there and we'll say Maven build. But what is the phase name? So let's see. So till now we saw that we were doing till package, everything was happening, and now the next thing is install. So this is the install which you want to keep the jar file in your local repository, the install one. And for this install one, again you see it needs to have all these things, but you don't need to worry, it will do the things only for you. So we'll again go here and I'll just say install. If you wish you can just say clean install. That's also a good practice so that it cleans the things of the last time. So you can do that. Otherwise we can just say here clean install. So I'll just say run again with this clean install, and now you can see it is doing the things again for some installation. And this time what was the last one? It said that last thing is your install. Okay, so something like this happened, and when I executed this install, it said that it copied the things, this particular jar file, from this target folder to the C drive, and there it kept. And let me just refresh it. So when I refresh, the jar file is here because it is just copied. Let's go to this location. And what should be the location? It should be as per your group ID. Our group ID was com.scaleupindia, then demo1. So let's go there. So let me go to my repository first. Then I'll go to com. Then let me see scaleupindia. Within that it is demo1, the name of my artifact ID. And this is the 01001 snapshot, because again here also I can have versions. So this version will always remain there till the point I delete. And this is your jar file. So now if you are having one more project, and that wants to refer this, you can easily get the things from here instead of getting it from central repository or referring to any other project. So that is the point of installing. Many times what people do is every time they just keep on saying clean install, clean install. It's not mandatory. Clean install is required only when you want it to be used in some different project. Otherwise, only clean package is sufficient for creating a jar file. So after creating the jar file with the Maven, our next goal is that we want to execute the code also with the help of Maven. For this, you may say that it's very easy. We can just go here and we can say run as a Java code, but that's simple. We want to run it with the help of Maven. So for that also there is a particular command. Although generally we don't do that. It's not that common, but yeah, it can be done. So we'll go here to Maven build with 3 dots. You may be wondering what happens when I say Maven build only without 3 dots. So this is something, it takes care of all your history, whatever things you have executed. So that's the thing. Yeah, but we will go to this Maven build with 3 dots in the run as. So we'll go here. And first of all, before you want to execute, at least the jar file should be there. For me, it was there, but let's say you are doing it completely from scratch. So then we will just say clean, so that cleanups your target folder. It's not mandatory if it is there is nothing in your target folder. Then we will say package, so that it creates the jar file for you. Then we will say exec, exec, that is the plugin name for execute, and then the goal is Java. So plugin is execute exec, and then the goal is Java. Then we will say minus capital D. So here we are going to provide the parameter, the place or the class name which contains our main method. So in this we will say exec dot main, and then class C capital, then we will say equals to, and then we will give the location of your class. So you need to give it starting from your package name, and it should be correct, something like this, only till demo. So this is the thing, and I don't want to execute it again, so I'll just copy this, and now I'll say run here. Now on executing run, let's see what it does. So it will download the required things, and as you can see that after running or after creating your jar file also, this time it is doing this particular thing also, executing your Java code. And on executing the Java code, since there was nothing different, only the direct thing was that we were calling the fetch all owners, so it executed and it is showing. So that means it's working fine. So that is there. So this is the way you can execute directly with the help of your Maven also. So we have done this thing. Now the next thing is that we are having a jar file with us. Now to our client, we will never ask our client to install an Eclipse and then go to Eclipse and then run this particular command. We will just give the jar file to our customer, and then we want our customer or our client to run the code just with the help of jar file. So let's go move out of the Eclipse and try to run the code directly from there. So for this we will come here, and let me go to that particular location which contains my folder or my project. So for this I'll go here, I'll say properties, and let me copy this particular location. So I have copied the location. I'll go here and let me provide so that we can directly go. So this is the location, and in the target folder you can see we have the jar file. So now what? Now I'll open the command prompt here. So this is my command prompt, something like this. And in the command prompt, what I will do is I'll just say that I want to run that particular jar file. So with the help of class path, obviously. So I will write java -cp, which stands for the class path. And now my jar file is within the target folder, but my location is outside the target folder. So one option is you can directly go to your target folder, or you can just say here target slash and then the name of your jar file. So if you don't remember, we can just read the things from here. How does it looks like? So this is demo1 and 0.0.1 hyphen, then it comes the snapshot here, and then we will say dot jar. And after this, we need to give again the name of your main class. So for this, we'll go to src main and java, and then we know it is com scale up india and then demo. So we need to write it out this. So we'll say com dot scale up india, something like this, and then we will say demo. So I hope all the spellings and everything is correct, otherwise it will give me an error. The path and each and everything is correct. Let's execute. So we can see it has executed, but it is again showing us that driver error, which means it's not able to identify the driver. But we know that we have a driver with us. I mean, that's why our code was running in Eclipse. So why is it not running here? The reason is that in your class path, we have just added this particular jar file, snapshot.jar. Now if we go there in this one, where in the target folder, so the size is only 18 KB. Now how is it possible that your MySQL is also within this 18 KB, your code is also within this 18 KB, JUnit is also within this 18 KB? It is not possible. So this is only the jar file of your code. It is not having all this. So again, it is the point that you need to ask your client that in the class path, you need to add this jar file as well as all those extra jar files, all the dependencies also. And then your client is going to fire you. So the solution is we need to provide an assembled, a bundled jar file to our client. Yes. So for this, how can we create that bundled jar file? So for this, what we will do is we need to take help of a new plugin. So let's try to search about that. So what I will do is I'll go here. Now I know the name for that, yeah, because I have studied about it. So the name is Maven Assembly plugin. So I'll just show you how to use any plugin after you know the name. So we'll say Maven Assembly plugin, and here we go. So always go to your Maven only. So here we have this Maven Assembly plugin. You can read out the description. It provides you a single zip archive, which will contain everything related to your project, all the files, all the things, all the dependencies. We'll go to the usage of it directly, and here we will see how to add it. So in order to add this within the plugin tag, we just need to add all these things: the artifact ID, the group ID is not required because all of them are coming from there, and all these configurations. So let me just copy this out. Let me go to this place and here to my pom.xml. So this is my pom.xml and these are my plugins. So again, you can add within the plugin section anywhere. So this is the benefit of plugins. Since we didn't copy the plugin part, so I'm just writing it out here for the plugin, and within this I'll paste it out this. So this way you can do, and again I'll see Control Shift. So the artifact ID is Maven Assembly plugin. Group ID you don't need to mention, it is coming from Apache only. This is the version, seems to be the latest, and this is some descriptor reference which they have mentioned, jar with dependencies. Now let's see what is the advantage of this. Now let me just save it first, and after this we need to do it again. So we'll go here again. So again, let's do from scratch. We'll say here clean, so that we clean the target folder. Then before creating the assembly or the bundled jar, we need to create a simple jar. So we'll say here package, and then we will be having assembly. So how to write that spelling? Again, I'm confused. So let's take help of this assembly. So this is the way, assembly, which is the name of that plugin. And in the assembly, we will say the goal is single. Now, where is this goal and everything is mentioned? Again, for that, you can take help of this document. So there, all these things like what is going to be the goal and each and everything is mentioned here. And we are going to directly. So as you can see, it's mentioned here like the goal is single. So this goal, we are using it out here from the assembly. Clean package assembly colon single. So let's run this and let's see what it will do. So again, this is running, it is downloading something new. It keeps on downloading, that's good. And this downloading, again, as I mentioned, it will keep on saving the things in your repository. So it's not like again and again it will keep on doing. But what it says that it has created one more jar file with this thing, jar with dependencies. So if you refresh something this, you see now we have two jar files, jar and the other one is jar with dependencies. Let's see size directly here. So now you can see we have two jars. One is a simple one of 18 KB and another one is more than 4 MB, which is available here, the jar with dependencies. Now let's execute this one. So we'll again select this, and what I'll do is I'll just click this and I'll need to provide that name here. So let me write this name very carefully here, jar with depend and C's. So jar with dependencies, it's that simple. And now let's execute. So it says welcome to Pakistan and it has executed your code also. So to your client, this is the jar file which you can share. And obviously post that jar file, they should also have access to that particular database. Then only they can run that. So this is something can be done. This is the required jar file. And for this, you just need to have a plugin. And I guess now you got to know that what is the role of plugins. This is going to provide you the extra features. Like in your Chrome, the plugins provide you the extra features. These plugins are also Java projects, which basically contains the code, the name of the plugin, and the goal we use in our command. So that way, all these things are going to be helpful for us. So this has also been created. So now we have discussed most of the things about the clean lifecycle as well as the build lifecycle. And out of these, the most important things you will be doing is the cleaning part, packaging, installing, or creating this assembly jar. Now one more thing is left, that is the documentation site part, the site lifecycle. So let's cover that too. Now for this, what do we need to do is we'll just go here and we'll go here and we just need to say site, and that's it. For the site, again there were many different phases, but we will just say site and it will do the job. So we'll say run here and let's see what it will do. It is again downloading a big bunch of things. Now why I'm just saying only site, because I'm already having the jar and other things. If you don't have a jar, so first you can say clean from the clean lifecycle, then you can say package from the build lifecycle, and then you can say site from the site lifecycle, just with the help of space. So many things to be downloaded. So don't worry when this happens with you also. I'm deliberately not skipping all these things. So it says it is a build success this time, and let's just refresh the things. Now everything is available within the target folder. There is a site folder also besides everything, and within this we are having all these HTMLs and CSS and other files. I'll just go to index.html and I'll just say open it with the help of here. Open it with the help of a web browser. So let's open. So it will provide you something this. So currently this is in my machine. It has not deployed anywhere, but this is the web page for this, a very simple one, for which I just wrote site. So this is about demo one. I didn't added any description in POM, so nothing came here. Then project information, so dependencies, everything you can get, that in which part you will get which all things. So let's go to this dependencies. So here it says that it is having one compile level dependency which is required during the compile time, that is com.mysql. This is the one jar file, this is the version. For testing it needs this one. Then these are the transitive dependencies, protobuf for compile, these are for the testing. This is the dependency tree. If you want to see the dependency tree, then you can just go to this pom.xml also here, and here you can see the dependency tree. So you see this protobuf is because of MySQL, these all are because of JUnit, and here also you can see all the required dependencies. Let's come back here. Then all these other things, licenses and everything. So each and everything it is showing you that total jar files, what is their size, what is their entry, within them how many classes, how many packages, everything is there, with Java version have they been made, and everything is there. Then dependency information. So this information is for your dependency. So now let's say I have created a jar file, I have deployed it on Maven, and now if someone wants to use, what they should use. So they should be using something like this: dependency, group ID is com.scaleupindia, artifact ID is demo1, version is 001 snapshot. So if anyone wants to use your jar file, they can just add this particular thing in this Maven. If they have builder, IV or anything else, they can add all these things. So that is also available. Then this about section, we didn't added any description. All these plugins are there, so that is also mentioned here. Assembly and everything is available. Then this plugin, so just a little bit more details, and this is just an overall summary, that this is the name, description, homepage with that URL which we removed in the starting. Description we didn't add. If you want to add a description, you can just go here to your pom.xml, and here you can just add a new tag of description. As of now we don't need. Then project organization, so everything is again mentioned here, which Java version it is using, what it is doing. So that is your site, which can be used for the documentation purpose. And since it is provided you with the help of HTML files, so you can keep this folder outside your project also, and you can just share it with other people. I mean, they can use it directly if they just want to see the documentation and everything. So this way you can add any number of dependencies, any number of things from there. I guess I have covered almost everything which was required for this particular project, and nothing has been missing here. And after this video, you will become an expert with the Maven. So you will be get an idea how to run a simple Quickstart Maven project. That's why the name we kept. In case if you want to know how to run a web application with the Maven, so that we will be covering in the next video, but most of the steps are going to remain same. So next video is going to be small enough also than this. And before that, before I go for the next video, before you stop or close this video, you start directly with your demo I'll provide you on the GitHub. But what one thing which you need to do is that you need to help me in order to increase this number. I mean, some motivation. At least let's try to reach 450 by the time we release the next video on the web app. I mean, that can be a small goal we can keep. And as I mentioned you, everything is available on the GitHub. So you can directly download the demo from there and you can execute it. So that also can be done very easily. Yeah. Thanks everyone.